What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another video. Today we are checking out Are We Cool Yet from the Exploring series. So yeah, we check out a lot of these videos, man, and this was pretty highly requested. Obviously, we've checked out, I think, most of the groups of interest in the SCP Foundation at this point. The only few we haven't is Are We Cool Yet and Anderson Robotics, and I will be reacting to Anderson Robotics later this week probably. But yeah, Are We Cool Yet? We've had one encounter with these guys, and it was in aquatic SCPs, you know, last week. Definitely not my favorite video, but you know, they created a tiger shark that was like a shadow moving in the water. They left it in a swimming pool and it ate people. What a surprise. And they leave a note with all the creations they make that say, are we cool yet? The answer to that question is no, you're not cool. Alright, so yeah, they seem like a bit, I don't want to say hipster group because of the way like this picture is on the screen. You know, it's like a graffiti thing. They seem like they kind of seem like they're a bit sad, to be honest, saying, are we cool yet? They're trying to be cool by creating SCPs. I mean, I guess it's a cool tag, you know? Or maybe an uncool tag, the way it works, or whichever way you see it. But anyway, if you are new to this channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit those notifications so you never miss a video. I do upload every single day. So yeah, be sure to subscribe. Also, you can follow me on Twitch where I do playthroughs of games and we just generally chill. So if you're interested in talking to me there, you can go and follow me on Twitch. And for all the latest updates on the channel and on the Twitch streams and all of that, join the Discord. You'll never miss any videos or Twitch streams if you're there. And yeah, you can talk to me there as well, I guess. But yeah, we're going to get into this video. Without further ado, let's go.
Are we cool yet?
Nope. Oh shit.
We've looked at a number of anomalies so far through the scope of both science and religion. Anomalies with origins beyond our planet or reality. Anomalies created through foolish accidents or from ancient rituals. What we haven't really looked at, though, are anomalies created through the scope of art. Art is a subjective concept, one heavily divorced from the cold, clinical nature of the SCP Foundation.
You know what I saw the other day? I was watching one of those Reddit unpopular opinion videos, and someone said, anyone who buys art is an idiot. You know what I mean? They said something like artists are very, what's the word? Was it psychopathic? Or they said that, but it's basically along the lines, anyone who's an artist and who can willingly sell their art at very inflated prices to anyone and talk people into paying that, they've got to be some kind of, there's something wrong with them, right? And then he referenced Hitler as an example, which I guess, I mean, if you go with that example, you know, all artists are smeared with that. Personally, I don't see the draw of having artwork. I don't see the difference between having £1 million painting on your wall and a £1 painting on your wall, you know what I mean? I don't really care for art, I never have, and I also suck at it, so, I mean, maybe that's why, you know?
And so that's why we'll be discussing a group of interest focused on anomalous art. Are we cool yet?
That eat people in
Like many groups in the SCP universe, AWCY exists as yet another fringe group that meddles with paranormal forces for their own goals. It just so happens that their goals consist of little more than creating really weird art pieces, many of which end up in Foundation custody. As usual, I'll be primarily looking at a handful of these contained exhibits to give us a better idea about the group. But let's see how they operate. Unlike many groups, Are We Cool Yet have no centralized leadership, no headquarters, no strict rules or traditions, and no official lists of members. Really,
these Monopoly pictures are pretty cool, to be fair. I like Monopoly, you know what I mean? But you just have to make sure the banker doesn't cheat, you know? One tip for you if you play Monopoly.
all it takes to be a part of Are We Cool Yet is to say that you are part of it, and to make anomalous art.
Kinda sucks, then, doesn't it?
Anomalous art is exactly what the name implies, and we'll get to some examples in a bit. But not all anomalous artists are part of AWCY. AWCY members tend to make art that is both highly visible to the public and often highly dangerous, leading some to decry the group as art terrorists.
Art terrorists. Yeah, it wouldn't be SCP Foundation if it wasn't dangerous, would it, though? You know?
The potential origin for the group is outlined in the tale Birth of the Cool. During the 19th century, the realm of science began to slowly understand the paranormal, and certain artists of the world took notice, beginning to create their own paranormal art pieces. By 1870, Paris was the center of anomalous art, and the debate about whether it should even exist. In 1874, the Salon des Magnifiques refused to allow any works of a phantasmagorical nature to be displayed at their grand exhibition. So a group of anomalous artists went off and started their own exhibition, held at the same time. The show was called Sommes-nous devenus magnifiques, which translates to Have We Become Magnificent?
No.
It was the talk of the
I used to be able to speak French, kind of. Not anymore.
town for months, and it was clear that this type of art wasn't going anywhere. This paranatural exhibition would be held every 10 years in different hidden locations, and the world of anomalous art would continue to grow.
You know, it's funny because he said France, well, this is Australia. The Art Gallery of South Australia. Fuck's sake.
There would be a schism in this world, though, that came to a head at the 1924 exhibition between two anomalous artists. One was a French surrealist, and the other a Mexican artist who embraced the more accessible and realistic side of art. The two debated for days before the opening of the exhibition about the relation of the artist to their work, the importance of context, of faith, knowledge, law, free will, God, state, and so on.
Couldn't be me.
It seems that as the exhibition opened, they had come to understanding one another, and a photo was taken of them standing in front of the doors, with one leaning in to whisper into the other's ear.
Trash talk.
For decades, people speculated what might have been said there, or whether it was a challenge, or an affirmation of their understanding one another, or a reminder of why they were there, or an expression of amazement at how many had come to see their exhibition.
I just have another anecdote about art. I've been to a lot of the museums in London, because there's a lot of great museums. So if you ever come to London, you know, Natural History Museum, Science Museum, right next door, you have a shit ton. The one that I really did not like was the one that was just filled with art. I can't remember which one it is, but I went there and it was like the most boring museum to me. You know what I mean? And plus my little brother slapped my dad in the... That was hilarious, but that's another story. But, you know, anyway, let's move on.
According to one reporter who claims that he was close enough to hear, it was all of those, summed up in 4 words. Are we cool yet? Whether that's the actual origin of the movement or just a fun anecdote is up in the air, and really doesn't matter that much. The point is that for decades, members or claimed members of AWCY have been creating art pieces with the goal of shocking, amazing, and changing the world at large. Whether or not they're all art terrorists is up for debate, but I'd say the Foundation is perfectly fine with that definition, and have been cleaning up their messes for years. Let's look at some of those messes then, at least the ones that could be cleaned up. I've already talked about one of the most popular AWCY creations,
the shark.
SCP-1057, Absence of Shark, in my Aquatic SCPs video, so we'll skip over that one.
Okay.
SCP-1802 is a small robot, about 30 centimeters tall, composed of chicken bones, iron, leather, wire, heavy twine, and a tin can for a head. It is covered in a piece of white canvas resembling a lab coat, and has safety goggles secured on its head using screws.
You can't be very
The robot is sapient and capable of speech, but is wholly devoted to the single task of collecting any miscellaneous objects it can find and storing them in out-of-sight places, such as behind a dumpster or at the foot of a tree.
Oh, that would be so annoying.
The objects it collects are generally worthless, including a bottle cap, acorns, insects, coat buttons, wrappers, or even small creatures such as a gecko. It's noted that the gecko escaped shortly after the robot collected it, though.
Yeah, good. Don't want those animal rights activists coming after you, do you? Guy who wrote this one. He doesn't want it. To be honest, I wouldn't want it either. To be fair, those people are crazy as fuck. Yeah, this one just doesn't seem very harmless. I mean, there might be a twist, but he's made of chicken bones. Chicken bones are like some of the weakest bones there is. Surely this guy could be broken very easily.
It even managed to remove a road sign using stolen tools, but was not large enough to move it, so it merely buried it in place with leaves.
How annoying.
1802 was discovered by the Foundation when it attempted to remove a security camera on the exterior of a Foundation facility.
Okay, buddy.
In an interview with the robot, it claims that its earliest memory is waking up and seeing a group of people moving around, making signs, or pouring things. A man in charge of the robot told it that its purpose is to keep anything it finds and to study them so that it can learn. By doing this task, it will become cool.
So it acts like a squirrel.
It collects everything it finds because it was told that it doesn't understand much.
Oh.
It was then placed outside and told to keep moving west, collecting things, until it came to a gate with a camera on it. It then tells the Foundation details about the building it came out of, leading the Foundation to raid the place. The last detail it provides is the name it was given, Skip.
Skip.
At the building, the Foundation only found a cardboard box with a note attached, reading, "Found this for you. Appreciate the gestures." And "Special procedures. Figure it out." Inside the box was a white bottle cap, which the Foundation collected and labeled as an SCP.
Oh.
Basically, this whole thing was just an Are We Cool Yet member making fun of the SCP Foundation and what they do. Skip, the robot, named after the phonetic pronunciation of an SCP, collects things in the world that it doesn't understand,
like SCP
and
Skip.
stores them away from prying
I'm
eyes.
not too sure it's phonetic.
Sometimes things escape, such as lizards. And other times, the Foundation contains things on the spot because they can't move them for whatever reason, like the road sign. As a final joke, they left the white bottle cap, implying that it's an anomaly, and the Foundation scooped it up and stored it away, just like Skip would. In uncommon fashion, then, no one ended up getting hurt from this AWCY piece.
Little deeper meaning to Skip. That's quite funny, to be fair. Gotta give him credit for that one. I gotta give him credit for that one. That's pretty funny.
On the other hand, we have something like SCP-1590, an application designed for touchscreen devices called the Book of Tamlin.
Oh.
Upon booting up, the application displays a welcome message saying, "To Joey, who taught me how to be cool," and the name of the last person who played the game, who almost made it out.
Oh no.
The Book of Tamlin is a game consisting of a series of images of different rooms,
I bet it's in
and the player is given subsequent tasks to complete in each room, all of which consist of locating different objects in the room. Basically, it's a really messed up version of those cool I Spy books.
Like, where's
the game consists of anywhere between 7 and 43 rooms, and the player also has a time limit between 1 and 12 minutes.
No.
The images and tasks are all personally relative to the player, beginning somewhat benign, before becoming increasingly personal and traumatic.
Why does it look like this is just duct-taped things? You know, I just thought of something else. What TV show was it where the guy sneezes on the canvas and they just sell it as art? Like, he was eating like some pudding or whatever, like, and then he sneezed on a canvas and then they kept selling it as art. Can't remember, but
there isn't really any winning of the game though, as at either a random point during the game or when the timer runs out, the screen displays the text, "You found out everything there is to find about the house. Now all you have left to find is the way out." The game then ends, and can't be replayed by the same person. Within 72 hours of this point, a door the player opens in real life will open instead to a room from the game they played. And eventually, every door the player opens will open into the game, practically forcing them in. After they go through, all contact will be lost with the individual. As some examples of the games played by individuals, one D-class player saw a farm owned by his uncle, where his parents sent all of his pets, with the task of finding the graves of all 7 of his childhood pets.
Fuck that.
Another image for the same D-class was a locker room from his middle school, where he was involved in multiple altercations, with the task of finding the 13 boys who made his childhood a living hell.
I was involved in an altercation in a
After
locker room.
finishing the game, the D-class opened a door that revealed the same locker room, at which point he charged through.
Oh no.
An agent for the Foundation played the game, seeing an image of his time on deployment in Korea. The task is to find the buddies he left behind. The door he opened in real life opened to the same scene, and he willingly entered with survival gear. Not all participants have entered willingly, as one female D-class was sedated and forced through to confront her childhood trauma.
No thanks.
In the end, once you play through, unless you can avoid opening doors for the rest of your life, you're going to have to go through.
I don't have to.
From most points of view, it seems more like cruel torture than a piece of art.
I have to take this one off the App Store, boys.
Art is often created to change how people think about things, and that leads us to SCP-1127, which takes that concept pretty literally. 1127 are a series of anomalous short films, primarily composed of scenes taken from other films and videos. A narrator has also been added to each film, providing commentary and occasionally interacting with objects and characters from the original footage. Anomalous effects occur after an individual watches one of these films for at least 20 minutes, resulting in a permanent change to their normal behavior.
Oh.
One film, titled "Were Clowns Always Yellow?", takes footage from The Sound of Music, The Night Porter,
haven't
The
seen
Day
it.
the Clown Cried,
Haven't seen
Surf
it.
Nazis Must Die,
The fuck?
and archival footage from World War II. The narrator, a man wearing a Nazi uniform with his face obscured by clown makeup, comments that when our lives become the joke, humor becomes a war crime. The punchline is always death, and to get it is to abandon the pretense that getting it matters. Laugh at the reality that is laughing at you.
Hold on. Do I understand that right? He said something about when you're in a bad, basically when life goes to shit, and he's in a Nazi uniform. So I'm going to use the Nazi Germany as this. You make fun of them in any way is basically what he's saying. You laugh at them. You make jokes at them. You're fucked. That's kind of true because in Nazi Germany with the whole Gestapo situation, you ever talk shit on them or you, not so much even if, obviously if you made jokes, but even if you said you had no faith in them or you were questioning your faith, man, people would rat you out and they'll come for you. That's fucked up. That happens in pretty much all of those sorts of dictatorships as well, though. As soon as you start talking shit, they come for you. You know what I mean?
At this point, the narrator produces a pistol and shoots actor Jerry Lewis in the back of the head.
Oof.
After watching the film, viewers will consider it to be the funniest thing they've ever seen, but will express disturbance and disgust at any normally humorous communication. Most jokes will be seen as offensive, but material that is normally offensive or distressing will be seen as amusing.
I'm going to turn into the PC police, is that what he's saying? Wait, hold on, I need to hear that last bit again.
But material that is normally offensive or distressing will be seen as amusing.
Oh, so it just flips. Okay. So if someone is just getting insulted left, right, and center, you're gonna laugh. But something that's funny, usually you're gonna find offensive. Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that already do that. You know what I mean? Especially if they find funny stuff offensive. So you know.
Another film titled "Crazy Where You Are" combines footage from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Faces of Death, various animated short films featuring Bugs Bunny and Tom and Jerry, and a Three Stooges short. The narrator is a female child around 12 years old, wearing a blue dress and a black domino mask. Throughout the film, she slowly dismembers a teddy bear with a small knife, and asks questions such as, "Are you afraid of violence?" and whether violence is the answer or the question.
What?
After watching the film...
That's some weird artist shit right there. Is violence the answer or the question? Depends who's asking the question, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I don't understand how violence is the question. Violence is... Like, people always say violence is not the answer. Let me tell you, sometimes it is the answer. Like, I have to say, sometimes it is the answer. If somebody's gonna give you shit, sometimes you just have to give them, you know, a jaw reassignment surgery, you know? If that makes sense.
Viewers will generally express no strong emotional response to it, and will also lose interest and emotional connections to things, activities, and people.
Oof.
They will also fail to react to dangerous and hostile environments, and will start to injure others merely out of curiosity.
Oh, never mind.
Another film is especially dangerous, as viewing it is liable to make viewers compulsively perform illegal and perverse activities.
Mm-hmm.
Since these films are popping up randomly around the internet, in video stores, and in theaters, you can see how AWCY gets pretty easily labeled as terrorists.
I mean, fair enough.
Speaking of compelling people
Well,
to
I swear that doesn't make you a terrorist. Isn't the definition of terrorist have to do with government? Like, isn't it like, I don't know the exact definition, but it's like something like violence in a name or something to do with a political cause, right? It has to be terrorism if it's involved with politics, and if it's not, it's called something else. I don't know, man. I could search it, but I'm too lazy.
For the sake of being cool, there's another app, SCP-1883. This one's pretty simple, as the app just displays a user's score, and every 5 to 9 hours updates with a new task that they can perform to earn points.
Cool, like achievements.
It's not really clear how the app can tell when a user has completed a task, but there is a mild compulsive effect that encourages players to continue performing tasks.
Yeah.
This effect increases when numerous players gather together to compete.
Oh no.
And they begin to follow informal hierarchies based on each other's scores.
Oh no.
If a task involves communication with another person, the app will somehow spread to that person's phone, making the app fairly dangerous, as of course the tasks become pretty worrisome.
That could be fun though.
Looking at a sample list of tasks provided, it starts out fairly basic.
I bet it gets real
Awarding
intense.
1 point for saluting the sun, and
What?
7 points for finding a horse and watching it for 30 minutes.
Nope, I don't like horses.
3 points for banging your head against a wall,
Oh.
and 10 points for telling a stranger what you really think about them.
Oh, I'd do that. There's no problem with that one.
If you manage to turn
Wait.
gold into lead,
How can you tell a stranger that what you really think about them if you don't know them? I mean, I guess you could say they're ugly or whatever else you think of their physical appearance, but I mean that's not too hard.
You get 999 points, which is pretty cool.
For what?
Gold into lead, you get 999 points,
Wow.
which is pretty cool.
Good luck with that.
The instructions sometimes include text that isn't a task, such as, if Babe Ruth was that great, why did he need a bat?
What?
To earn 150 points, you must rob a bank, but
Is that
only
it?
take quarters. For only half a
Yo.
point, you can convince another person that you are dead.
If I'm robbing a bank, I need more than 150 points. Okay? Jesus.
If you kick a yellow dog, you get no points, which you would think no one would do.
Why would I kick
but
a dog?
You'd be surprised, I'm sure.
Let's go boot a dog. Fuck it, dude.
200 points to eat something that has been in a grave. And
Oh!
90 points to walk on glass and describe the noise it makes.
Fuck
Sometimes
that.
you might have to ignore a task to get 21 points, which is probably trickier than it seems. And if you gain 5
I
points,
just break my
you
phone.
get 5 points. If you burn an irreplaceable object and manage to replace it, that's worth 100 points.
What?
But it's only 15 points if you love someone. Sometimes
I
breathing
love
might
myself.
actually cost you 200 points. And a couple tasks are apparently so horrific that the Foundation expunged them,
Good.
worth 300 and 450 points. The text after those two says, "The real skeleton was inside you all along. Are we cool yet?"
Nope.
The Foundation heard about the app after an incident in which at least 72 people irreparably wounded their left eyes with household objects,
God damn
most
idiots.
of which were using the app, meaning that some did it just for the fun of it.
Some people need a hobby. You know what I mean?
Stendhal syndrome is a supposed psychosomatic condition that involves people suffering from heart palpitations, fainting, and even hallucinations after viewing art of incredible beauty. Members of AWCY would of course be interested in this phenomenon, bringing us to SCP-1074, an oil painting on canvas that, when photographed, just looks completely gray. When viewed directly, though, viewers suffer from symptoms similar to Stendhal syndrome, and will attempt to vividly describe the painting they are seeing to any nearby. No two viewers have described it as the same artwork, but they all agree that it is the most beautiful and moving piece of art they have ever seen.
If you say so.
They will not turn their heads from it unless forced, and will attempt to convince everyone else nearby to view it as well. They will also begin to discuss philosophical questions related to the painting, bringing up human mortality, individual insignificance, legal or moral judgment, and religious eschatology. Within 3 to 5 minutes of exposure, the individual will become permanently catatonic, but will continue to display brain activity as if they were fully awake and aware. If forcibly removed before this point, they will stave off catatonia for some time, continuing to describe every detail of the painting,
What is that?
and report
Fucking
even seeing
hell.
it in their dream. Typically, within 5 to 8 days, though, they will slip into the same coma unless treated with amnestics to wipe their memories. Even then, though, the Foundation has yet to find a way to permanently prevent it, and the longest someone has gone is 6 weeks before going catatonic.
Oof.
In an interview with the D-Class who was exposed to the painting, he describes it with confusion, as it seems to be a painting of himself on his knees, crying.
Hmm?
There are flames all around him, and he surmises that he's in hell, along with Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
Jesus is scowling at the D-Class, and he is holding a flaming sword,
Yeah.
as well as a scale with a heart on one side and an apple on the other. The apple is depicted as heavier, and the man interprets this to mean that Jesus is judging him, and he is guilty.
Don't know what I'm hearing.
Although he had vehemently denied in court the crime of murdering his wife and child, he now admits to it and says that, of course, Jesus knows, and it all makes sense now. He says that he is nothing and everything. Everything is nothing, and that everything is imaginary. We have to exist, though, and we must will ourselves into existence in order to vanquish the dreamer that dreams of our existence. After going silent for some time, the D-Class says that he has one question. Are we cool yet?
Nope.
That's a question we'll likely never have a definitive answer to. AWCY is a disjointed, confusing mess of an organization,
Agreed.
just the way they prefer it. There's no real goals or endgame for me to discuss here. It's all simply art, and art can't always be readily explained. There is a lengthy series of tales regarding AWCY called The Cool War, which I didn't touch upon at all in this video, so we'll have to save that for another time, as it provides a more specific look at members of the group. AWCY aren't the most popular group of interest, as they often come across as pretentious and insufferable.
Correct.
And they are a far cry from the unknowable Lovecraftian roots of the SCP universe. Love them or hate them, though, you can't deny the efforts they go through just to be cool.
They think they're cool. It'd be funny if the quote is just, are we cool yet? Stop making things because you can. Stop making things because you want to make things like everyone else. Stop making things because you already saw the same thing, you wanted to do it again. Stop making things that aren't yours. Stop making things that aren't cool. You want to know why we aren't cool yet? It's because we includes all of us, and sadly, you are one of us, and you just aren't cool. Rees, Dude Champ, a cooler manifesto. Well done. That is the end of Are We Cool Yet? The answer to that question is still no. They're not cool. I don't think they ever will be. Personally, these guys seem pretty... I mean, the art scene is definitely not my type of scene. I don't like art. I mean, I've made that very clear. It's just not my thing. These guys seem a bit odd. Like, almost all their SCPs in some way are harmful. So when they get labeled terrorists, I can understand why. In terms of some of their artwork, obviously the shark was the first one. The tin boy that was made of, like, chicken bones and shit, he was the only one that wasn't harmful, but he was just a mockery of the SCP Foundation, which was pretty smart. He was pretty smart, to be fair. The movies were pretty disturbing, and what's the other one that we just heard at the end? The painting that you turn into, like, catatonic state, that one is also disturbing. The Where's Waldo-esque thing. Oh, well, it's not Where's Waldo. It's like where you go in and you search. It's like one of those search games. Find the object. That was also disturbing, you know what I mean? So, most of their SCPs they create are pretty harmful. So, yeah, I can understand why they're not very well liked. And they've just got another enemy. I feel like these guys might be the equivalent of the Tau for me at this point. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Anyway, if you enjoyed this reaction, man, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next one.